it like a threat. And one of the things that can't be attacked is your self-custody Bitcoin. And one of the things that can be attacked is the ETF. You can't be exposed to that. That's my view. It's not a good idea. And by the way, that'll hit MSTR too. It'll probably hit other stuff as well.
Friends and enemies, welcome back. Canadian Bitcoiners podcast.
Friends and enemies, welcome to the CBP. Wanna be better informed? Listen to Len and Joey. Sponsors taken care of right off the top. Oh, Bitcoin and easy DNS. The media is feeding the slop. It doesn't matter what topics discussed. Quality entertainment and information you can trust.
That's being planned or at least discussed. You know, we're not going to allow
quality entertainment and information you can trust. Send the guy some value, boost them with some stats. Bitcoin is a scarcity asset. I mean, it's just a fact. Geopolitical, national, down to the local cloud.
Friends and enemies, welcome back to the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. Tonight we have a great show for you. Len and I, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin Core. We're going to be talking about ledger leaks. We're going to be talking about, I think we should be talking about Danny Knowles versus Michael Saylor today, which released and worked up a lot of people on Bitcoin Twitter, myself included. We're going to talk about El Salvador pretending they're still into Bitcoin, among other things. And of course, get into some notable Canadian news as well. But Len, first as always, let's talk about how you're doing. What's going on over there? How the heck are you?
Cold. How about you?
Same. Although my heater is keeping me warm here, my hash heater. So not too nice today. I took my dog out for a walk at the end of my workday around 4 o'clock. And I kind of just wore my light jacket thinking, I'll work up a bit of a sweat while I'm going anyways. Did not work up a sweat. Did not have the right jacket on. And so I was cold until I swear 20 minutes ago when I came down here to refresh on some of the notes I had for the show. But that's okay. No problem. It's winter. We're doing okay over here in Canada. Why don't we start with the sponsors? Then we'll get into some housekeeping and some other stuff. First, of course, easy DNS. Len, they don't call it hard DNS. It's not called hard DNS. It's not called difficult to deal with DNS. It's not called, why did I call this guy DNS? It's called easy DNS because it's easy. Mark will take care of you if you have registrar needs. He is the guy in the know when it comes to domain registrar, okay? Domain registrars. Not only that, but he's got a lot of other stuff going on too. Easy mail, domain sure, protect your data, but also your client's data, your mailing list data. Don't be Instagram. Don't be Spotify. Don't be any of these companies that are getting pinched and clipped and hacked and all sorts of other things for data. Not to mention, Len, if you're a Bitcoiner, virtual private server options for you. You want to run a Bitcoin node? Do it there. You want to run a Nostr relay? Do it there. You can get verified on Nostr, whatever that means these days, with Mark. Go there. Use our promo code CBP Media. Start a website. Buy a domain. Hoard them. 50% off your first round of buys. You can't beat that. Why wouldn't you go and buy autisticbarbiecollection.com after today? I think we'll probably talk about that in notable news. I don't know. Anyway, easy DNS. Go there and tell them we sent you. Who's the other sponsor?
I like Bull Bitcoin because they could buy Bitcoin over there. You could sell Bitcoin over there. 91,000. I'm not sure which category you are in, to buy or to sell, but either way, they have you covered. You could do it Lightning. You could do it on-chain. On-chain fees are still very cheap.
Yep.
What it should be in the future. So I would suggest continually do your on buys for the time being, but don't discount the other one. What?
Yeah, nothing. They're going to be like that in the future. I don't know if they will or not, but
I can guarantee nothing aside from death and taxes. Other than that, right? Yeah. But I assume that the price is going to go up and the fees are going to go up as well. So you might want to start learning how to use Lightning. But not only that, not only could you do those buys and sells, like I said, you could do the reoccurring buys, you could do auto buys, limit orders, you could pay people in e-transfer by sending Bitcoin. So if you owe somebody some cash, you could have Bull Bitcoin facilitate that. You send Bull Bitcoin your Bitcoin, and then they will e-transfer your BUD with Canadian dollars. You could pay your bills with Bitcoin. So that's other things you could do. Check them out. They're best in the game, non-custodial. This is what you want in exchange. You don't want them to hold on to your Bitcoin. When you do the buy, you have to provide an address. It may not have to be the right address, but you have to provide a Bitcoin address. They won't facilitate that buy without that address. Check them out. Use our sign-up code below. By doing that, all your buys and sells for the remainder of your life will be cheaper. So might as well do that. Check them out.
Well, where do you want to start?
Wherever you want. I'm flexible today. I'm just defending. I'm in defense mode.
Why don't we do Boost first, and then we'll go from there.
So boosts, we only have a couple. I think we have an issue with our fountain, and I haven't got around to fixing it. It's been very busy. Sold a car, Joey. I'm not sure if you're aware.
Your
My
old
wife's
car?
No, my old car was
wow.
sellable. My wife's old car, so she bought it.
Okay.
So yeah, and so it's been very busy between that and her sister being sick and everything else. It's been very challenging, but that's why I haven't got around to fixing the fountain. Either way, I got 2 boosts, Mo BTC Dick 500 sats, and he says, this is more for you, Joey. Can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on the latest What Bitcoin Did Saylor interview.
Yeah, man. Holy fuck.
Exactly. He did I didn't hear it. I heard one review of it, and it's like exactly what you say. He goes in, did brrr, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you got some thoughts on it. We want to tell
we'll talk
BTC
about it.
Take care.
We'll do the rest of the boost. We'll talk. Maybe we'll lead with that just for the sake of leading for it.
And we got Jamie. I don't think it's Jaime. I think it's Jamie. 1,000 sats. He sent
Thank
in
you, sir.
to us. Happy New Year. And a Happy New Year to you too.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only 2 I have.
Short and sweet. Short and sweet. Yeah. Okay. So we have no interview this week. No interview next week. I was going to do Canadian Dominion Society, but I will tell them this as well. Reviewing some of their tweets and whatnot, I think that's flying a little too close to the sun for me. Some stuff I disagree with there on a personal level. And while I do agree that we've kind of let immigration get away from us, it doesn't mean you can just say certain things. And without getting into details, I mean, you guys can guess what some of those things might be. I'm not going to do that interview, and I'll let them know that. But I do want to put some other ones in the hopper for the next few weeks anyway. And we'll let you guys know when we schedule those. But keep an eye out. We have not forgotten about interview shows. We're going to obviously get back to them. But Len and I are both busy, as he mentioned. I have my little one now getting into activities. So yet another.
I have an interview scheduled for February 4th. Tentatively, it's going to be Mr. Arnome coming on. He's been on the show a few times, and he wants to come on once again to basically vent. That's the way I get it. I want to hear him vent. So I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you too as well.
Yeah. He's a good guest.
Response to a lot of you people when he comes
He's
on.
a good guest. I like when he comes on. Because him and I disagree on a lot of stuff, which is fun. And we've shared airtime on this program before. He's a good guy. Honest actor, like I always say, is what we're looking for. And he definitely fits that bill. Okay, let's talk about Saylor and Knowles here. I don't listen to What Bitcoin Did anymore. I'll say this. Okay? I don't find Danny to be a particularly good interviewer. Maybe he's still cutting his teeth in that regard. And I think this episode is a great example of that. Because your review, Len, is somewhat accurate, but it's missing some key details. And the key detail, I'm gonna mess this up. I'd prefer if I had actually listened to it again the last hour, but I didn't. Knowles basically starts the interview with a question to Saylor that I view as like wildly, almost irresponsibly inert for getting a guy like Saylor to come on your show. The question was, basically, with a lot of these, treasury companies trading below MNAV, trading below 1 MNAV, is it fair to say that the market doesn't have the capacity to absorb all these different pure play treasury companies? And if not, then, what's going to happen to some of these guys? They're getting crushed, basically, is what he was saying. Saylor dragged him through the fucking mud for 45 minutes on that question. Said he was offensive, said he was insulted, said he was a moron, said he was wasting his time. Yeah, brutal. And, we have a Saylor chat, Boomers In, that I had some disagreements with a couple of our buddies on today. And, I'm not the only person who had these views. Saylor, like I've said many times, man, Saylor is not an agile speaker. He comes in with a set of talking points that he wants to get across, with a set of narrative bits that he wants to, put into the ether, whether it's on CNBC or on What Bitcoin Did or with Preston Pish or with Natalie Brunell, whoever. And he ripped Danny. He really put Danny on his heels, even though I thought that was a good question. And Saylor saying stuff like, why aren't you asking about the companies that aren't buying Bitcoin? As opposed to focusing your energy on the ones that are buying Bitcoin. And I just like Gandalf put it well in one of the replies to one of the threads I looked at. He's asking that question because you're the godfather of the treasury strategy. It's a Bitcoin podcast. and he's got you for an interview. Like, what do you want him to ask you? How's it going? How do you like the weather? Like what? It's sort of rhetorical. It's a rhetorical question, right? Because what does he want him to ask? Everyone
maybe
knows.
not, Joey.
Well,
you don't know for certain, because I'm going to say this. Do you know guaranteed that he's asking for questions beforehand? So I don't.
He's not asking for questions beforehand, but I know.
Is he? Wait,
I know.
You do know or you don't know? Like you're saying, you know definitively,
and you know, and everyone else knows that what Saylor wants to do is take question A and just drag you over to the answer he wants to give. Right?
I guess
he's famously, he's been doing that in 4K for 5 years.
But does he ask for questions beforehand?
No, he doesn't. He definitely doesn't. He definitely doesn't.
See, I don't know. And I'm going to say, if he asked for it and that question wasn't part of it, I could kind of understand his beef. I don't totally agree with it.
Yeah.
But I could kind of understand where he's coming from. But if there's no questions that were asked pre-hand, then there is no beef whatsoever. So
yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I was really disappointed with Saylor, though that is his MO at this point. And I think if you're ignoring that, then, you're either overexposed to MSTR and the other equities, or you're just, fanning a little bit too hard. And I was disappointed with Knowles because I really thought he had him on his heels a bit, and it would have been nice to see Danny, go from Charmander to Charmeleon a little bit during that interview when he had the chance. Instead, he crossed his legs, sat backwards in his chair, and let Saylor absolutely steamroll him, call him names, call him stupid, say he's wasting time. Very unprofessional, to say the least. It's petty
for a guy that's was spearheading.
Yeah,
a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
Now he owns a fuckload of assets for that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a lot of control. To do that, come out in public and do that looks fucking bush.
It was nasty. Yeah, it was nasty. I totally agree. I would like to hear Danny talk about that a little bit. He won't, because these guys need access. And if you go and you talk about that kind of thing after the fact without Saylor being there to defend himself, then that's it. I see Boomer in the chat and saying he didn't call him a moron. He didn't use the word moron, but he did say it was a dumb question. Basically, there was a couple of different words he was using in there that are slipping my mind now, and I don't want to misquote him. But the implication was that he was calling him stupid. And I think that's unprofessional, unfair. And by the way, this is a guy who has never had to play defense, Mike Saylor. And the only times I've said this a bunch on this show, okay? But we get new listeners every week, and so I'll say it again. Anytime Michael Saylor has not been able to go on a 1 hour monologue, he looks stupid. Texas Bitcoin mining thing, the Bitcoin mining committee or whatever on Marty's show years ago, looks stupid. That was the first strike. He went dark for a while after that. Now he only goes on a few shows, okay? He only goes on a few television programs as well. He avoids actively guys like Schiff, who honestly, I don't know if Schiff is right or wrong about MSTR strategy. I don't know if MSTR strategy is going to last long term. I think their treasury and balance sheet or whatever is pretty safe, given that Bitcoin is probably not going anywhere. But if you keep ducking the best opponents and calling yourself the heavyweight champ, eventually you're going to hit Clubber Lang, right? And once you get into the ring with someone like that, there's not going to be like Mick and Apollo are not going to train you. You're going to fall out of favor. And I look at the stock price of MSTR. I look at the quote unquote success that his company is lacking these days compared to like 2 years ago. And I see a guy who I said this in the chat too. Boomer will vouch for this. I think he thinks he's lost a bit of his luster, and I think we think he's lost a bit of his luster in Bitcoin. The market certainly does. The market certainly thinks he's lost some luster. S&P Q's trading at all-time highs. He can't get off of the lows. Bitcoin, rebounding to 90, 92,000, whatever it was the last couple of days. He can't get off the lows. Now, I might end up being wrong about the, the bit about the end price of MSTR. Like if Bitcoin goes to 150K, like is MSTR going to go to 450 again? Maybe. I don't know. I just don't think that at this point anyone can point to Saylor and say he's been great for MSTR or for Bitcoin over the last 7-8 months. And someone in the other chat today was saying yeah, he's buying a bunch of Bitcoin. So what? If buying Bitcoin is all it takes to be good, then the ETFs are better than Michael Saylor anyway. Saylor is Saylor is actually costing us if we're talking about money into Bitcoin as being a positive and MSTR being that positive, because people are buying that instead of buying the ETFs and taking away from that tranche. Like this whole thing it's not good is where I will leave this.
Oh, Danny fucked up, because if he, in the middle of all that, he just said, sorry, give me a second, and went to one of those Ledger advertisements and then took a break.
He didn't go to Ledger. He did go to an ad though pretty early on.
He should have did that a little more, but the Ledger one would have really been enough to take people's off their game, and then he could reset and come back with a new question that has been pre-approved by the Saylor team, and he'll be able to run. Maybe that's it. You were saying that he's steamrolled a whole bunch of people, and every time he goes off script, it seems to be like he's lost when he.
So he just looks unprepared. Yeah,
maybe that's the whole thing. I can't guarantee this to be the case, but it seems like he's been given a set of questions beforehand. He looks at them, or his team looks at them, and then sends it to him, and he preps for those, knowing what they're going to be beforehand, and then is able to run from there. Once you go off that script, it changes everything, and for him to speak on his feet, maybe more of a challenge, especially if he wasn't prepared for that type of
one other thing I'll note is that I think that MSTR also realizes he's falling out of favor, because Fong Li is doing more and more media now in the Bitcoin space. And so that tells me that they think there's someone who can carry the water a little better than Saylor, or that they need to switch up the flavor a little bit from time to time, because people are souring on the Saylor monologues.
Did he say anything about the MSCI announcement?
No, he didn't. But I brought that up to our chat too. Like, this guy,
why?
Because he's playing.
Not your question. Why didn't he bring it up?
I don't know. He doesn't have to. He publicly had to go on defense against it, right? His product is so good that he requires the MSCI listing to stay relevant. Is that the takeaway? I don't know. Again, like, I'm just going to point out the obvious here, that I'm very much going on the vibe that I get from him and from the company and from the comm strategy. And you may say, well, what good is the vibe? And I would say to you that I think the vibe, if you can read it, tells you a lot about what's going on behind the scenes. I've never seen him that defensive, that jumpy, showing teeth like that to Knowles of all people, a guy he is familiar with. I don't know. To me,
I'm disappointed, man, because I'm so heavily invested in this, right? And to hear this, it's fucking ruining my day. I think I might have to place an order, market order tomorrow morning, sell everything, all 0 shares I have.
Yeah.
If anyone wants it at the market order, you can have it.
Anyway, let's go on to the stories here.
Do you want to talk about Bitcoin Core, the issues that they're having?
What's not to like about this story? Core claiming that Knots was ill-maintained and Knots would cause problems, and yet here we are, the Core group of devs, silent more or less, right? You got a handful of people making comments, but generally silent on a pretty significant issue. What is it? Wallet dir or whatever? Is that what it's called?
It's the migration, the migrating of a legacy wallet. This could cause an issue, and from what I understand, it's for version 30.1 are impacted. And so if you, let's be perfectly honest, if you fucking have Core, if you're running, right, like let's be honest, if somebody
and the Satoshi Arrow wallet, basically, right, is at the.
You're not gonna use that as a fucking wallet. You don't run your wallet software the same computer that runs your Node client. You shouldn't do that. That's poor practice, in my honest opinion. But even worse practice is using the Core wallet feature that's built into it as a fucking wallet. Why would anybody want to use that unless you're just testing shit out on testnet or something? Fine, be all the more power to you. But when you're actually using fucking Bitcoin proper, there's better things you could use. There's like Sparrow out there that's been tried, tested, and fucking true, just fucking works. But this is what it is. So it looks really bad on the Core people. People are dunking on them, but like I said, the reality is, who's fucking using this as a wallet? I think very few people are using it in totality. But what it does show off, really more than anything, is the complexity of the code we're dealing with. What has been done is the software itself becomes more and more complicated, more and more complex to maintain, more and more complex to update. We talk about this on Axis of Easy. You should listen to that, watch that. When operating systems, it's kind of in the same vein, gets more complex, like Windows, it's so challenging to keep it up to date, to make sure that all the the holes are closed and it's just a secure system just because of how complex it is. Core is getting really complex as a client. It makes me wonder that maybe this is a good time for people out there to start programming lightweight clients. We have the one that's written in Go. We have the one that's written in Rust. We may need more of these lightweight clients out there. Give people alternatives, not just Knots and Core and these other ones, but we need more stuff that just is not bloated with shit. That's what I want to see. That's what I hope we get. This will probably be a wake-up call, I think, for some people out there. I think everybody's faulty, right? Like people are saying, pointing fingers at Core, their shit. And, all this stuff that Luke has done in the past few months, he's kind of looked funny too, right? But to his credit, Knots has been pretty good. But still, like, you know what I mean? Like there's so much things that could go wrong here. We just need more alternatives, more options. Clients, we just need more clients out there. This is not something we should be playing with lightly. This is fucking our money. This is something we could fucking really put a nail into the fiat system if we do it right. But if we don't, if we fuck it up, we have one chance at this. If we fuck it up, it's done. What are we gonna? We'll just be continually living this fiat environment for the rest of our lives. I don't want to see that. We got to move on to something better. Bitcoin is it. Let's make it better.
How do you fix the core development problem? Gloria Zhao and Adam Back and like the Bitcoin mailing list stuff, or the Bitcoin, it's like the Bitcoin forum or something. The comments coming out where the devs are going, Gloria and Adam, I think, actually are going back and forth talking about vulnerabilities, and then they decide they're just too hard to fix, so they can't fix them. So
if you have alternatives, as long as the client itself adheres to...
No, but I don't mean that. I mean, how do you fix the core dev problem, right? Because not
you don't have
well, I mean, you don't have to yet, but at some point, yeah, you want the core devs to be competent people. Because Knots is all core, save for a couple lines of code. So like people can say that Knots is like this unverified, unvetted thing, but it is sort of indirectly just
it's a derivative.
Yeah, barely even a derivative. It's like a clone of core, save for a few lines. So you need to have the core dev team on the ball. So how do you fix the development problem over there?
So I'm going to go back. As long as you have alternatives out there, do you really, like, you know what I mean? If you think about it, it's like an operating system, right? You have to run something to use your computer. At the onset, you had DOS, you had whatever the Mac OS had it. You had very few, and you had fucking Unix. But for home users, you really had just the DOS thing. Then it migrated to Windows, but over time, then came this nice, lightweight, free to use open source software, GNU/Linux. It works, and from there, it just you have a bunch of different branches. But that's what you need. We have Core, it's there, but you could have something else. Core could do what they want. You could have something else give you exactly what Core could do, just on a lightweight, less bullshit type of environment, usability, shit like that. So Core could do that as long as there's clients out there that are in line with consensus of the network, right? It's going to be doing shit that's going to be every 10 minutes. It's like that's all you really need. So Core could do what they want. Who cares? They could push things. Who cares? It's the people themselves that ultimately want to have what they want. As long as there's options, they could pick and choose what they want to run. We want options. I want options.
Yeah.
Fuck Core. Fuck everything.
Okay.
I want options.
All right.
Just like Linux. Linux gives you like a shitload of options.
Yeah, but the problem isn't optionality. The problem is that like the other options, the other Bitcoin clients are just copied from Core.
Well, copied in what sense? Like if you're doing something
like
from
the
scratch,
code base is
like the
same.
Rust one or the Go one, that's done from scratch.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? So like they're not copying. They have a set of rules they have to abide by because that's network rules, and that's it. If you're saying that's copying, okay, but once you do that, you're good to go. Then if you could hook up your software to that particular node, you could query it. Great.
Yeah.
I just want more options.
We do need more. We do need more options. We do need
Core
more
is not the be all and end all.
Yeah.
They fuck around too much. They give us information well past, in terms of like when there's an issue with a particular piece of software, years later they'll release the information what was wrong with it. For instance, why do we have to wait years?
Oh God, no. We never. I mean, updating Bitcoin. We're gonna find this out with Quantum. By the way, I know no one wants to use the keyword, but we are gonna find out how hard it is to update the protocol. And we better
You're a big fan
start
of-
thinking about that too.
You're a big proponent of quantum being something that's going to cause issues in the not too distant future, it seems, right?
Yeah. 10 years maybe max.
All right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right?
Oh, long enough time horizon, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's a big deal. Ledger. We're gonna talk about the Ledger hack. They're doing some creative.
Why not?
Yeah, the folks over there are doing some creative things to try to steal other people's Bitcoin and maybe some digital assets that are called shitcoins. Jameson Lopp out there was posting an interesting scam that was being perpetrated because there's been several hacks getting information of people who it is that own the Ledger device. So there's emails now coming out, apparently from Ledger, saying that Ledger and Trezor have merged companies. And they're saying that all Ledger...
Just imagine just a shit milkshake. Just nothing works over there.
Well, in this email, which is fake, by the way, it says all Ledger users have to migrate to the unified Trezor interface in the next few weeks. And they give a link to click. It looks really good. You click on that link. And I don't know what happened when you click the link because they just showed a picture of the email. I presume it goes to a site where it's asking you for your seed phrase. These hacks, they are getting out of control. And the problem with this is that we have one particular company to blame for this, or maybe not one, but there's a few of that. But really, Ledger is like the poster child here. Mm-hmm. And all this goes to show you is when you're going to buy a particular device, like a signing device, you may want to think long and hard, not getting a Ledger given their track record. CoinKite does a really good job. I'm not getting fucking paid by them. You're not getting paid by them, Joey. Like this is just we like the product that they deliver, and they do a good job. It works well. But not only that, when you order something from them, from what I understand, shortly thereafter, within months, they destroy that information. So that information tying your name to ordering that device is gone. So if there was ever a hack, depending when it takes place, unless you ordered very recently, you're pretty much safe. And that's what you want in a company that they value your privacy. And Ledger does not. I just want to keep bringing this up. Ledger's using it still better than leaving on exchange, but not by much. And just if you got one of these emails, be careful. Anybody that's asking you for your seed phrase, they're just asking for your fucking Bitcoin. Never give it up. Not to friend, not to family, nobody. Because if you do, it could potentially be gone. Fuck Ledger.
Ledger was the first mover in the wallet space, right?
I think so.
And so they really fumbled the bag. Boomer's raising a good point that I think I would lean toward that as well, actually. Boomer, that Trezor is the superior product now.
They've had their own hacks.
They have, but not like this. Like names, addresses, emails, phone numbers, like that's the whole kit and caboodle. So you pile this in with the weekly wrench attacks in a place like France. There's people willing to go get this money, go get those coins and whatever else is on your ledger, I guess. But Cold Card is the best product security wise for sure. UI, leaves something to be desired for the new Bitcoiner, let's say. Although I don't think it matters if you're of a certain vintage. You're going to find that the quality of the product, trumps anything else.
Well, Seed Signer is pretty good too in that you build it. And so you're getting
super niche market though. Super niche market.
Maybe
no one's building their own. And do you want to build your own wallet? Secure generational wealth on there. I don't know. I'm not sure you want to do that.
I don't know. From what I understand, it's very well liked. I can't speak with confidence on how good or shitty it is because I have never used it. But people that have used it, they love it. So take that to heart.
Seed Signer guys actually seem cool online too, which is nice. They're good people.
You talked about the French government. Let's do the story where they're not doing Bitcoiners a solid.
God.
A corrupt tax agent in France was getting access to people's information, and the info he was accessing was the government-stored database that indicated how much Bitcoin and shitcoins people had, and this is all due to KYC laws in France. So You buy Bitcoin, somehow that information, you buy it through the regular exchange, of course. Somehow that information ends up going to the French government. They have the database. And while this guy was selling this information to gangs out there, and of course they use this info, and you know what they did with it, they try to extort the Bitcoin and shitcoins from those people that have a decent amount on their ledger or cold card or wherever the fuck they have it on. And they say that crypto kidnapping is becoming more commonplace in France. It's happening on a weekly basis now. It goes to show you that the value of KYC free Bitcoin, there is fucking value there.
Totally.
Because, so services like BISC and RoboSats and shit like that, Bitcoin ATMs that offer up KYC free, there's some value there, because this cannot happen if you have KYC free Bitcoin. If somebody had total KYC free Bitcoin and never exposed their UTXOs to something that ties it to them, they're flying under the radar in totality. But once you start buying KYC and the government has it, and somebody from the inside of government is corrupt and uses that to sell that information to gangs, then it becomes really problematic. So,
that's one way to put it. Yeah, really problematic. You might die. Yeah. Family kidnapped. You're dead. Yeah, it could be problematic, I would say.
Didn't we have somebody lose a finger? Was it last year? I forget. It was an exchange.
Was it the guy who?
Or was it Ledger? Somebody from Ledger was involved.
No, I thought it was the guy in France again who got picked up, and we thought he was laundering money. Right? He didn't want to pay the taxes on it or whatever. I thought it was that guy. I forget his role now. He might have been actually working for an exchange now that you mention it, but I don't recall who or when.
So Boomer's saying with AI and IP addresses, when you use your own node that's running behind a VPN and even Tor, broadcasting a transaction from when you send it, maybe they could tie it to you. But when you're receiving, there's no IP address. You're sending it to an address.
Yeah.
So there's no so. As long as you're receiving, there's no way to say that that Bitcoin address belongs to somebody in X country. It could be anywhere in the world or fucking universe for that matter.
Yeah,
you're gonna love this story, Joey.
Can I just share something that Gigi in the Bull Bitcoin chat sent us? I want to make this meme very popular. I think this is maybe the funniest meme ever.
I love to hear.
Yeah, this is a trade offer meme for people who are on listening on audio. It says, I receive 60% of your taxes, or 60% taxes on your income. You receive state agents who sell your address to gang members. And it's Emmanuel Macron in the trade phase. elite meme from our friends at Bull there. Yeah,
you gotta make a meme like this one.
Go ahead.
It's a good story because a new Bitcoin monument has been erected at
the
main international.
This guy's got to stop. Just go back to the Human Centipede jail videos and leave us Bitcoiners alone, man. Come on.
So, for people who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, the international airport, the main one in El Salvador, when you arrive in the airport, there's this new Bitcoin monument, and people are greeted by this beauty over there. It says, "Welcome to Bitcoin country." It's got the big Bitcoin symbol on it, and right beside it has a couple of screens showing off a few things like the price of Bitcoin, how much Bitcoin El Salvador presumably has, and some tweets from Bukele is also on there. So it's good stuff, and so it's just
what is he betting on? Like, what is the intended result here of the Bitcoin monument being put up at the airport? They got rid of Chivo. They got rid of Chivo. The IMF has got them under their boot now, and I don't see why this is a good idea. Explain this. Like, someone's got to explain this to me. Like, I'm retarded, because I don't get it. I think this is just asking for trouble.
Are people still thinking of moving there?
No,
like Bitcoiners. You remember there was a period of time where they were offering up residency or citizenship.
I was going to meetups and people were like laughing at me for telling them that I thought El Salvador was going to rug. They're not going to rug. There was one guy, an optometrist whose name I can't remember, but he's a nice guy. Him and his wife moved there, and he just kept saying to me last time I saw him, "I'll save room for you on my couch." Blah blah blah. Like, I'm not coming to your couch anymore. No one's coming to rent your couch.
How much were they asking for? It was like 50 Bitcoin or something. I forget what the fucking number was.
It was quite a bit. No, I think it wasn't like 200 grand. I don't think it was 50 Bitcoin. 50's a lot. 50's a lot.
Remember when it first came out, Bitcoin went down to 15K, right? So I don't, whatever the fuck it was, they were asking for quite a bit for residency, citizenship, something like that. And some people took them up on that offer. They got fucking totally scammed because they thought there was this bright future over there where Bitcoin could be continually used as a medium of exchange, and you could just go to the McDonald's and pay with Bitcoin. Fuck, man. Like, I feel bad for those people. They're dumb as fuck. I still feel bad for them for it.
I don't think they're dumb. Like, I think they were hopeful.
They believe too much. They
were hopeful. You know, some of those people didn't come from
Bitcoin. I thought it was way higher than that.
There you go. Off. By the way, some of those people didn't come from Canada either, right? They came from places and situations that were a lot more dire. They liked Bitcoin, especially if you're in a place where you got to get out. There's not a lot of other Bitcoiners. Like, it looks like a great option, but yeah, I think at this point, I mean, if it wasn't safe before, I think it's safe to say you got rugged.
Let's talk about this guy named Stephen Punwazi.
Yeah, Punwazi from Better Dwelling. Yeah. Great story. I like this.
He tweets that, I'm going to read it, just it says here, crypto is dangerous. Your money can disappear. He says this sarcastically because he says a counterpoint, RBC just quote unquote lost one of my business accounts, not closed or anything. The account never existed. They're equally confused why I have a bank card, checks, routing details, and login connected to nothing. And, we're going through this situation in the past little while. You see people are getting debanked. And, if somebody out there is very powerful and wants to have you erased within the fiat world, it can happen. Right? It's very simple.
Or you could be at the hands of incompetent tellers in 1990s Windows 3.1 bank software. You could also get nuked by that as well. Anything can happen in Canada. Just lose your account. The best is that he went to the bank with the checkbook and the old statements, and they just had no record of it. Like, assuming that guy's making okay money, the bank has never seen him before. Like, oh, it's Steven. And now his account's gone.
Maybe.
How is that possible?
I mean, he could do everything remotely.
Still,
right?
Man,
I could see that.
I don't know.
And so, anyways, you're dealing with a centralized service like a bank, and if they want to rug you, they can rug you. This is another reason why I Bitcoin. There's so many reasons why I Bitcoin that was this week why I'm doing it, but this is another one. If you use Bitcoin properly, can't get rugged.
Yeah,
it's not like a kid at the bank. I feel bad for this guy. Now, apparently, he's got this resolved. But man, he's got a big following. Imagine like somebody that didn't have a big following. What could he or she do?
It's always a story, isn't it?
Fucked.
What happens if you don't have a following? You're at the mercy of these, errors, and there's not much you can say or do because no one's going to reach out to you if you have 1,000 followers, or even I don't know how many followers I have, 3,000, 4,000, something like that. Like, even that's not big enough for RBC to help you. You're at the mercy of, like I said, the tellers. And by the way, the tellers are like, I'm sure they're nice and they're trying their best, but the likelihood that they're going to be able to really give you good advice is basically zero, especially for a problem like this. Is it not? Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming that? You're laughing. It's true though. You're not going to get any help from these guys. Like, what are they going to say? They work there part-time. Like, I don't know.
Let's talk about Rumble Wallet. So it's the Rumble Wallet is now available for creators to receive tips in USDT, Bitcoin, and also something called Tether Gold. Okay, I never heard of Tether Gold before. Either way, you could use that to tip people in this virtual gold stuff. I haven't tried out the Rumble Wallet, but from the way I understand it is you have to download the Rumble Wallet to your phone, so some mobile device, and you have to enable the feature from the app.
Yeah.
And apparently there's some bugs in the system that's being reported by Bitcoin, not crypto. And I want to just give him some credit here because I watched his video and he tested it out and came up with some issues that was a result of this, of the app. And he says the Bitcoin that's being used is on-chain Bitcoin. They're not using Lightning. You're using on-chain. So you're talking on average every 10 minutes, it's going to settle. Not only that, you're dealing with the on-chain fees, which, it could be high. It's cheap right now, but
it can be.
If somebody's sending you something, if they're sending you a tip, they're probably going to send you a few pennies or something like that. And, depending, how much the UTXO and shit like that, it may be unspendable. depending on the fees at the time. And so not only that, there's another issue. The tipping with Bitcoin is a single address. They don't generate new address every time you tip. It's the same address as of right now. So it's easy to do a search on a blockchain explorer to see how much Bitcoin that address received, they're holding, and they moved. And if that Bitcoin that they received was moved to an address that they hold more Bitcoin, and then they later move it again, and they consolidate, right? Yeah. If they do poor job consolidating their UTXOs, and they're doxed at that moment, and then that's shitty. So that's why using on-chain in this particular manner is not the best way of using it. You shouldn't use it altogether, period. I would suggest use Lightning and then let the creator itself deal with the Lightning and how to deal with it. But it's buggy at the very least. That's the way I'm seeing it. I wouldn't want anybody to use it at this particular moment. It's shitty.
You don't need Rumble Wallet, do you? What do you need it for? You got QR. I know you got QR codes so you can stick on your videos if you want to get on-chain transactions or Lightning transactions. Why expand your surface area for attack? Right? We don't know who coded this. We don't know where it came from. Yeah. Okay. Great. So we don't know. I don't think it's open source, right? As far as I can tell.
No,
I didn't see it. No, so it's not. Let's say it's not open source. And I see Boomer in the chat. It's competition to YouTube. I don't view it as necessarily competitive with YouTube. But I do want. I hope it kind of catches lightning in a bottle. It'd be fun to have Bitcoin tips become the norm. I mean, we don't think much about this because in the Bitcoin podcast space, we have Fountain, right? So Fountain, we get boosts every week. We read out the comments and stuff, and it's like, nice. Okay. A little bit of money in our pocket. You guys get to say what you're thinking. And, Bob's your uncle. But there are better ways to do this without, another wallet product, I think. But
you have to remember that Tether bought into
Tether
Rumble
owns a big piece of Rumble, like 20%, right, or something huge.
So by doing so, they want to expose their products, USDT. It looks like that Tether Gold as well. If you're going to do that, then Bitcoin is an adjacent product. By the way, I checked to see if it's open source. It's not entirely open source. They're using open source tools to develop it, but it's in itself is not open source. So that's just an FYI. So really what they're trying to do is they're trying to create an alternative to YouTube that is less censored. And you now have the ability, if you want to tip them, you don't have to use whatever it is with Google to pay for, or the YouTube version of paying somebody a tip. You could just use something that's totally outside that, Bitcoin, right? And in theory, that works really well. But in practice, in this particular case, it's not all that good. If they could migrate somehow Lightning into it, then it's
Be sick.
Great. Not fantastic, because Rumble is still growing, but it's still better than what it is now. And then you can see, okay, I could start using it as a Bitcoiner. I want to use that as my primary place to start posting videos, doing live shit.
Totally.
Right. So I guess that's what they're trying to do. Anyways, there's this great story out there about why you should never use a custodial exchange. Or at least if you are going to use one, pull your Bitcoin off as soon as possible from the exchange after making the buy. And it's a story from Yahoo. And it says South Korea's Supreme Court ruled that Bitcoin held on domestic exchanges can be legally seized under the Criminal Procedure Act. And they were trying to decide how to deal with these digital assets that were held in exchange, and if it could be seized during a criminal investigation. And this all started back in January 2020. That was actually pre-COVID. And at that time, police confiscated 55.6 Bitcoin from somebody who was under investigation for money laundering. And the courts they had to figure out what to do with it. They were arguing that the Bitcoin held in the exchange did not qualify as physical property. But then eventually they decided, let's take this to court, figure this thing out.
I love this. It's Schrodinger's Bitcoin, right? Whatever they want it to qualify as for the purposes that they're looking to fulfill, we got to tax it. We don't have to tax it. It's property. It's not property. It's yours. It's ours.
They say it qualifies as an electronic token with the ability to be independently managed, traded, and substantially controlled in the terms of economic value. And there's new proposals out there that would allow authorities to lock these accounts, these exchanges, before the suspected criminal was even had the ability to withdraw the money. So no more lengthy delays for getting a warrant. They could just simply get it locked, and then at that point they can't get their Bitcoin off. So that's why you wouldn't want to use the custodial exchange. But even, right, like, don't be a criminal. But what you should do is take your Bitcoin, put it in cold storage, and what could be done at that point? They can suspect that you have it, or like, fuck, right? But that's what you should do. That's another reason why you shouldn't use a custodial exchange. Shouldn't leave your Bitcoin on there. Take it off as soon as possible, because they could change laws, as you mentioned, and it could be against you.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I'll note a couple of things here. Right now, there are fines out against Corebit, Upbit, BitThumb, CoinOne, GoPax, and the anticipated total of all those fines is going to reach $100 billion because they've, participated, let's say, in activities that the government found to be unsavory. There's also a proposed payment freeze system over there now, so you can freeze assets like you can in stock markets, which kind of against the ethos there, I would say. To put it mildly. You have two choices as a Bitcoiner, and it's been like this for a long time, but the threat wasn't quite as real as it is now 10 years ago. You have a choice between ease and security, simplicity and security. You can go to an exchange, ShakePay, Wealthsimple, whatever, and buy and hold on the exchange, and every day wake up and buy a little more and watch the number go up in the exchange and feel good about being able to see it on your phone and touch it on your phone and move it on your phone. And you have a little username to go with it. Other people who are playing in that sandbox can send you stuff without an address. Nice. Secure. Doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about a seed phrase. You don't have to stamp it out. Don't have to hold it on metal. Don't have to make sure it's fireproof, waterproof, hide it in different jurisdictions, take it out of your house, whatever. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can just go on your phone. That's a solution. You can do that if you want, but you're at risk. South Korea is not North America, of course, not the North American market, but look at what's happening here and even in the UK and European countries, America, and the blue states. There is a trend toward asset seizure and stuff like taxing unrealized gains and forced selling and confiscation of anything liquid that's not bolted down, basically, to support ongoing poor decisions at the state level in terms of spending. So you can either be a part of that, as they destroy every single fiat asset on the way to Valhalla, I guess, or you can just hold it in a cold card and, bury it somewhere and forget about it. Use Cove Wallet from our friend Praveen to monitor your transactions and generate receive addresses and never look at your hardware wallet. Up to you, man. You pick. But it seems to me that we're doing these stories more and more, and there's more and more leanings from governments that you would consider to be free, open, and fair, participating in activities that are anything but when the need arises. So be on the lookout for that and protect yourself before you have to. That's the trick, right? Do it before you have to.
That's a good segue to the next discussion. BitChat, the chat service that
Mesh Boys. Yeah.
No Wi-Fi, no data, no anything like that. It uses Bluetooth for this chat service. As you mentioned, it's a mesh. It's peer-to-peer. And this past week, officials in Uganda said that they could block it. And this release came out as the country is moving forward to a national election. And I'd like to say good luck stopping a peer-to-peer service. It was designed to be used during blackouts. So when there's connectivity blackouts, stuff like BitChat could still work as long as you have Bluetooth.
Yep.
I once tried out BitChat, but I never did anything beyond it from installing it because you have to be able to be out in the open. Everybody knows I don't leave the basement. So until I do, I don't know exactly how well it works, but it seems to work very well in certain places that are trying to restrict your freedom, especially your freedom of speech. So in the past, Uganda has restricted online access during politically sensitive periods, like during elections. So it's probably going to happen again as they are marching forward to another national election. So BitChat, you know what? Stuff like this just gives it credibility, and it's free publicity. Right? Like, why do this? Now people are more aware of it and probably going to use it. So thanks a lot.
I like BitChat. It's a good app. Again, there was a thing called Fire Chat like 10 years ago. The people used at music festivals. It was okay. Worked all right. These things only work as well as the sort of popularity in your immediate area, by the way, but still pretty cool. Pablo and Johnny there, Hash and Coin, both talking about how funny BitChat was in Montreal or at Bitcoin events. I never got on BitChat in Montreal. I was a little busy doing the MC stuff, but I would like to hop on it next time we're at that conference and just, like Pablo was saying, hit a bunch of people with GM all day long. GM. Good stuff. Will it ever gain mainstream use? No, but that's not the success metric for something like that. Just FYI.
No, just an alternative that gives you the ability to communicate when there are no other options. Like in Iran, for instance, they're going through some internal issues right now. Lots of protests and shit.
You got away with some internal issues over there. Yeah, it's one way to put it.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, well, anyways, there's an internet blackout being experienced over there because the authorities are trying to maintain control, and looks like there's some FUD being spread about how this could impact Bitcoin mining. And not too long ago, if you recall, Joey, China, they banned Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, right? This wasn't not too long, 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
And Bitcoin survived that, even though that most of the hash rate came out of that country. And remember our weekly Inner Mongolia reports? We were talking about them.
A simpler time,
bringing people up to speed to some critical information. But you need the internet to mine Bitcoin. I mean, you could probably be creative to get around it, but for the most part, to hash out, to mine Bitcoin, you need internet and other services like, electricity. But Starlink could potentially be used in times when traditional internet's being shut down. Now, I heard that they're jamming Starlink, so not all the packets are going through, but still, in a limited manner, it's still working. But all this to say that Iran's problem that's going on right now is not going to impact Bitcoin mining fucking at all. Right? Like, in fact, you look at Venezuela, a country that should be in Bitcoin mining. It should be a hotbed, and they're venting and flaring a fuckload of gas. In fact, Bloomberg reports that roughly 13 billion cubic meters of natural gas is being vented by Venezuela every year. That's worth about $1.4 billion. A lot of wasted revenue. Might as well place a call to upstream data, talk to Steve, and get something put out there.
Steve Barber's vlog on the way to Venezuela.
Get it on a fucking ship and set it out there. So Iran, it's not going to really change anything with Bitcoin mining, right? Like it's just fun. I can't believe they're talking about this.
Did we cover last week the Venezuela Bitcoin secret stash? I guess were we in between shows when that happened? That whole abduction. It was a precision operation, but
was it Bitcoin they stole? It was Tether for the
no, I thought it was it. I don't know. I forget now. But anyway, it's sort of, you reminded me there. Iran, disaster over there. They are apparently now cutting internet. And about an hour ago, the U.S. consulate told any Americans in Iran to find ways out that do not require government assistance. So get to it. There's going to be a war coming tomorrow. Over under on nuclear bombs this year.
I have to look at the pizza situation in Washington.
It was high about an hour ago. I saw.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Yeah.
Can we see nukes? I'm on Polymarket right now. Let's check out the odds of nukes. Iran nuke before 2027. Is that the chance of them getting one? Oh, here we go.
Neither. The chances are zero for getting Iran.
30% chance.
Of getting nuked.
Nuclear, yeah, on Polymarket.
I'm gonna take the under on that one.
That's high. I feel like that's high, 30%.
Yeah, for sure it is. Who's gonna want to start a nuclear war? All right, let's. You saw this superheat stuff, right?
Yeah, we talked about it with Juan a bit. This is what this reminds me of, the CoinMine 1 or whatever those things were called years ago.
I can't remember what CoinMine 1 is.
Long time ago now, but it was like another home heater, basically. Tuan has the best product in this silo, and part of the reason is because he tells you the spec. There's no spec sharing on this, right? That was the problem that we...
There is. There is.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with the specs.
So people what the fuck are wondering, what are we talking about? This is making Bitcoin mining more accessible, right? Like we have, or Joey has one behind him. I have one in my garage. You can't hear one Joey has. Is a testament to 256 heat. We'll talk about them in a minute. Either way, these are home heating solutions. This is a Superheat H1. It's a combined 50-gallon electric water heater and Bitcoin mining rig. And so these sell for approximately $2,000. I assume that's USD. And as I said, they're 50-gallon water tanks. And the hash rate is claimed 120 terahash per second. So with that being said, you know, if you are using electricity to heat your water,
could be.
I don't know. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, could be you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
in terms
whatever.
of like this shit, I'm not sure what's the lead time. I do know they say that they're hoping to get shipments done by March 2026, but who knows? I know that Mint Green has been doing stuff. Colin Sullivan was doing shit about repurposing the heat for other things. So this is just another example of that.
They've been very successful with that out in British Columbia, but that's about the only example I think off the top of my head of miners being used in, I mean, I would call that a commercial space, maybe not quite industrial space, but commercial space. So I like the idea of Tuan saying, and tore up in the chat, making a good point. You can't run a water heater 24/7, so it runs only a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
The point, the thing that I think Tuan and you guys and these guys at Water Heat would all agree on, what was the name of this? Superheat. The guys at Superheat would all agree on is that if the heat is the thing you need, then getting some hash out of it is gravy. So for me, like I've said this a million times, I'll say it again. This thing heats this room when I'm doing the podcast. Like it's cold in here normally. Right now it's probably like 20 degrees, 21 degrees. And in the other room, when I have guests over, I just turn the vent into the bigger room and blows off hot air in there. I need the heat. If you need heat, then maybe you use something like this to do your water heater, even if it's only for a few hours a day. But you're not going to get a lot of Bitcoin. Tore up in the chat is correct about that. It's going to be very underwhelming, but better than zero, right? If the bar is zero, then why not?
You'd be more inclined to take long showers.
Yeah.
And more frequent showers at that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so because if you're going to go there, I'm going to make a few bucks by taking a shower. You'd be like Kramer preparing your lunch over there, right?
Great. Good callback. Yeah.
Let's squeeze this one last story. In Wallet of Satoshi, they're winding down custodial services in the EU. And if you're using it and you're getting a no longer available in your region error, it's because, well, it's no longer available because of the MiCA regulations. They're saying anybody holding custody of user funds must apply for these licenses with national regulators. And this is for dealing and trying to stem or trying to deal with anti-money laundering or money laundering and also terrorism financing.
Shocker.
So
yeah, shocker.
Yeah, so if you're using it,
this is
advisable. Use a VPN to get your money out of there and try something else.
That was a long time, drawn out. I feel like we talked about that like a year ago.
Yeah, but this just came out.
Slow on,
yeah.
RIP to a pioneering app, right? That was the first custodial Lightning app, really
affecting people in Germany, Italy, France, Spain, Poland, and the Netherlands.
There you go.
And you need a VPN to connect to Serbia, UK. So yeah,
you need a VPN to tweet mean stuff, anyways, in most of those places. So chances are people already have one.
It's funny for those countries, those 6 countries I mentioned. You have to connect to the UK, like to pretend to be with a VPN in the UK to actually use all the Satoshi.
Yeah, I guess because it's not EU. Interesting,
right?
Yeah.
So imagine that.
Anyways. How the turntables. Anyway, yeah. Let's go to notable
they do
stories.
Turn the tables, yes.
If you're with us on audio, see you tomorrow. If you're with us on video live, hang in. We're not going anywhere. We got some great Canadian content coming up here, meeting the new media requirements to stay on the air. See you in a second.
Don't be a cuck.